Okay, so this video is for training purposes. I just cleaned the tent and I have it all set up. If it's a nice day, I like to open up all the windows, just to kind of air it out, to let it be a little more fresh. I sometimes will plug the fan in just to get some air circulating in here. But we'll start in this corner and kind of work our way around. This is the little boot tray. I always wipe that down or shake it off outside. I tend to wipe down pretty much everything inside the tent. So wipe down the surface of this, the fireplace appliances. I check the tea kettle, make sure that there's nothing left in it. If there is, I'll show you how I generally do the dishes here in just a moment. I check the little bucket here, make sure that there's nothing inside the bucket, and if there is any burnt material, I'll take it outside. There's a shovel right over here on the outside of the tent that I'll just bury it with. And then I obviously sweep down the tile here, clean it. And then moving over here, sorry, I think I was just trying to repeat myself. This is just the main little end table here. A couple towels that we keep on the bottom. I generally roll them up like this, just for a little more like luxe feeling. However, if the guests utilize the towels, which most of the guests don't use the towels for any reason, but if they were to, we don't have a replacement set. You're okay to just take them home, wash them, bring them back on the next guest. If they're not here for one, I'm not super concerned about it. And then the top of it kind of looks like this. So I always put the little spray next to that little bottle. And then I always like to check, make sure batteries are good and everything. And if they're not, please let us know. I try to kind of tuck away the cords as best as possible, just to kind of camouflage that. Inside the drawer, there should be several things. Matches, there's some bug spray, there's a lighter here, our first aid kit, some earplugs, some bear spray, and then some more matches and a little head lamp right back here. I will kind of look in the drawer, make sure that there's nothing like gross in it. If there is, obviously I'll just wipe it out real quick. Moving to the bed, I generally like it set up like this. So we have a comforter with a duvet on it. We don't wash the comforter between every guest, but we do wash the duvets between every guest. And we also have 3 sets of white sheets, 2 white quilts, and 1 black quilt. So I'll just kind of rotate throughout those. I like to lay the back pillows down like this, prop up these pillows, and then karate chop the little leather one. I'll wipe that down with just a Sani wipe because that doesn't get washed between each guest. With the cowhide rug, I take it out and I shake it outside, but I generally have it set up like this, kind of at a bit of an angle underneath the bed. On the tray here, I tend to leave just a couple caramels, our book. There should be 3 books here, 1 just going over reconnecting with wildlife, 1 kind of adventure guidebook, and then our guest book. I like to set it all up just like this. And then this little end table here, again, I check all the lights, make sure that they're working. This one is not, so I actually need to fumble with that. Wipe down the coasters, and then I also like to double check and make sure the lights are working. Here's the light switch. Sometimes it will get unplugged from the electrical box over here. So this is our solar box, and I like to double check, make sure that it has actual numbers on it, because if it doesn't, generally what has happened is our battery is under here in that box. Those little clips have come undone. So if there's any complaints of that, I just plug that back in. That's a little mosquito trap. And then I always like to double check the fire alarm, making sure the batteries are good, but as we all know, if they're not, it generally kind of just squawks at us the whole time. So that's that little setup. over on the bookshelf, I generally don't have fresh flowers. We had kind of an important guest come and stay, so I left the flowers for them, and they forgot to take them home, so I just left them up here for the rest of our guests. But without the flowers, on this side is just the pour over coffee and the couple cups. In this little pot here, we have coffee. There's more coffee under the bed, and I'll show you that in a second. If that runs low, we just replenish it. This is just tea bags in here. I obviously wipe that down, take everything off, wipe down the shelves. Couple books, a little chess set for our guests. We do have one pan here, and I've gone back and forth if we're gonna keep it or not, just because usually with cast iron it takes a lot of maintenance, and I'm not entirely sure if I want to put that on our caretakers. So if that ever becomes a problem, please just let me know and we can easily just take it home. In this bin, there's several things in here. So we have just a hot mitt. We've got a can opener, some scissors, some tongs, a spatula, salt, pepper, and then olive oil for cooking. I always leave an additional trash bag in here just for the guests if they need more carry out, because they are asked to carry their trash out after their stays. If they don't, please let me know. We do an additional fee for that, and that fee would go directly to you for disposing the trash. We have just the plates and bowls, a little coffee filter, and then some forks and some spoons. So that's kind of everything in there. On this shelf, we've got just additional firewood, and I always like to keep a little stock in here. There is communication with the guests that we will have some. If that runs low, again, please let me know. I hope it wouldn't be a huge burden for us to just have you pick some up at the gas station. But again, we always like to try to just keep that stocked. I find that most people don't utilize it. They usually bring their own because they're advised to, except for in the winter, but I always like to have just a little stock here in the case that they came and there wasn't anything. I would hate for them to be cold throughout the night. But they also have a little propane heater as well, and we keep a stock of propane tanks under the bed too. Generally speaking, that can run for about 7 hours for one tank, and then obviously the fire extinguisher. So again, I wipe all that down. I do tend to wipe kind of this base. Sometimes that will get dirty, and I just use like a sani wipe really quick on it. Wipe off the chair. I find that sometimes that gets pretty dirty and overlooked. And then underneath the bed, let me show you what we've got under here. So we have our stock of propane tanks. We have our Swiffer pads here. And I generally break down the Swiffer mop and also put it right here. We've got a little stock of toilet paper in case the porta potty runs out. And then in this little container, I'll pull it out and show you. Kind of keep a extra supply of things in here. So I need to clean this out apparently. It's looking a bit rough. We have the fire kindling kits, which I still need to stock one of these. I just grabbed some dry small sticks, some pine needles, some pine cones, and put it in here. And then I set it right next to the fireplace. This is just a little bag of caramels that I put out on the bed. Again, some additional coffee and tea, some additional toilet paper, some soap, and more coffee. So if we ever needed to restock anything in here, please let me know. I probably would send you just that in the mail through Amazon. And then the front of it here, we have this little bin. I just did the dishes in this, so I bring a little jug of water with me just to wash them out. That way I don't have to go anywhere to do it. And a sponge. And I ask our guests to put their dirty dishes in this at the end of their stay. And generally they'll leave it kind of out, but sometimes they'll put it back under the bed with dishes in it. And then that is just a little propane stove burner. So it's everything that's under the bed. It's how everything should look in between each guest. I still have yet to clean the porch here. But once I do, I'll send you a video of that. And then cornhole boards, I have been leaving them out for the guests, but generally I put them right on the back side of the tent, just up against it, and that seems to work well. Just right about there. I also obviously wipe down that table. Out here, if there's any obviously big sticks or anything, I'll just pick them up out of the fire pit. If this is super full from previous guests, I would ask that you just dump it and bury the ashes. And then over here, there's a couple grill like plates, some s'more sticks or hot dog sticks, and then a little axe. So that's everything at the fire pit. Once this is clean, obviously all of this will be gone. The broom, this small broom, goes inside the tent up against the wall on the boot tray. And then I do a quick sweep of the deck just to try to make it as clean as possible. Obviously with the rain and such, like, it just looks a little gross, but I might come up here and give it a good scrub down soon. And then we also have additional trash bags. Those go in the additional supply underneath the bed. I think that's it. And then obviously we wipe down this table too, making sure that there is sufficient batteries in that lantern, sorry. The lock will go on the tent. And I'll send you the code for that too. But again, if it's a nice day, I'll leave the screen just open. I'll pull these back, kind of open it up, make it look cutesy, you know, for the guests. And I'll lock it at the bottom like this. And then that prevents them from really kind of unzipping it. And then if it's rainy out or just cold or they're getting in a little bit later, I'll close the front doors and double lock it through the screen and through the canvas, because it also has a zipper on the canvas too. That's it. And that's a lot. Sorry, I kind of went over all the details of this tent. I'll send you another video of Wapiti Way. Again, this one's Eagles Land.